We're excited about that. But Paul mentioned in these scriptures, there were 5 steps. He talked about a preacher must be sent. Well, let me just change that word from preacher, because you have this preconceived idea that it's the guy behind the pulpit. No, it's a messenger of the good news. So a messenger is being sent out, but then the sent messenger preaches the good news. Now, not everyone is preaching good news. There's churches all around that aren't preaching good news. There's missionaries that are all around that are not preaching good news. The good news is it is finished. The good news is we have been restored to the image of God. The good news is we've been reconciled to God. We've been redeemed. We have been made perfect forever. That is the good news. The good news is not me having to be and perform religious duties. It got quiet. No, because he loves me, in return, I love him in obedience. I pray, I give, I witness, I do all those things, but it was all because of him first loving me. That's the good news. And so we're sending messengers to preach the good news. And the good news must be heard. You know, you can go out on the streets witnessing. I saw on Facebook Dave and Michael last night out on the streets. I don't know if they were in 5 Points or where. They were ministering to people. Bless you, Michael. Bless you for going out on the streets. But some people, when you walk up to them, can I talk to you about Jesus? No, thank you. They don't want to hear it. You might go across the world. They might not want to hear it. So we need people willing to hear. But the good news must be believed. See, even people in churches that believe Jesus died and rose again, that's good. But the Bible says in James 2:19, the devils believe and tremble. They believe in Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection. So it's got to be believed and manifested through faith, bringing forth beautiful works. And then the belief must be the kind that calls on the Lord for salvation. See, many people believe, but have you ever called upon him to save you? If you did just a moment ago, you need to confess. You need to tell someone. Let people know that Jesus Christ is now Lord of your life. So the mission conference is about sending missionaries out to preach the good news. Why? Because people need to hear and believe. This is about the reality of God. It is the reality of taking the gospel into all the world. I just watched a video of a gentleman that was speaking at Wheaton College. It was a 30-minute video. It overwhelmed me with a passion for missions. This gentleman has 5 degrees from University of Pennsylvania, all Ivy League schools. He has 2 from Harvard. He's got a master's degree from Princeton and Columbia. I think there were 5 in his family. There's 4 or 5. They all had their 15 degrees. And what he was calling the saints to is, will you become a nobody? Because everyone wants to live out the American dream. You want to be somebody. You want to be wealthy. You want to be this and that, so everyone recognizes you. And he says, I'm calling you to be nobodies. And he left all of his wealth to go and share the gospel into all the world. His family, his whole family, because they understand this is what reality is. We're passing through this temporal for the eternal realm, and what we leave in the eternal realm will last forever. And God's calling us to that. In verse 14, he says, how then can they call on the one they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? Paul asks 3 questions. He starts off with the first question. How can they call on him to save unless they believe in him? See, you can't call upon the name of the Lord until you believe in him. But then he asks the very next question. How can they believe in him if they've never heard about him?